Hello and welcome to OG Foundation, the capital of the sovereign state of Lodium. I'm Sovereign of Lodium, and this is episode 16, maybe 17. I gotta keep up with these episode numbers of season number 10, building out this off-grid foundation enclave. Right now, I am working on cementing this skylight, which I sealed last week or yesterday. And I see that there's condensation on the flat polycarbonate panel in there, which means that the seal underneath I messed up. So, but this one is clearly sealed because otherwise the fog would have made it, or whatever would have made it to the outer dome. So I've got to redo that, which is going to be slightly tricky. But right now I'm getting this done, and after this is mortared, then I can potentially do the wider floor here. But turned into a hot day, and I'm on the first batch of mortar. Oh wait, no, is this the second batch? First batch. The chickens are out. So now that they've been in the coop for several days, and they've kind of acclimated in the sense of knowing that their food and water is in here, and they've slept in here for a while, I'm gonna try for the first time to just leave the door open and see how they do being free range again, but hopefully not going into the other coops, and hopefully I don't get into trouble and have a bunch of problems getting them back into the coop. But I figure as long as the food's in there, then my chances are decent that I'll be able to get them back in with some scratch later on. Look at all those turkeys. Bunch of them. Firewood time. I'm in the middle of doing a finish, or maybe a semi-finished coat, depending on how this all goes, on the floor in here. And the drain was quite a bit lower than the rest, so I had to use that plug upside down like this on top of the drain pipe in order to build up the mortar all around it, probably an inch or more. And there was a bunch of extra water in here that I poured to help figure it out, because this is only one batch, which is pretty difficult really to level this all out or get it smooth, kind of level, but also slope to the drain. This is the first time I've used these boots. I got mortar boots, so that's nice, so I can walk all in here and take my time. And now that the plug is pulled and the water is coming out, I also got another coat on that thing, though it's not a finished coat. And I also realized that my attempt to reseal the underneath with foam and silicone totally failed. It was like looking okay for a while, and then the foam like expanded and broke the seal, so I've got a nightmare on the inside there. But whatever, it is what it is. Finishing this before I try to fix that light thing, and depending on how it goes, I might end up needing one more batch, but this will be a big improvement. So I think I did a decent job, at least. I'll have to clean up that hole after it dries a little bit, and it should be more level than it was before, though where I am now is clearly a high ground, but it seems to drain pretty well with all that. And this might be the finished coat for the season, or I might end up doing one more on top of this. We shall see. Here's a little before shot of here. This is like where the tall part meets the shorter wall, and you can see it's kind of like a curve here. And this is also the gutter, so I'm kind of filling in this hole with more lath. And then getting this piece of rebar fully integrated, which connects that through tension all the way down to these tires. And then here, that cement is going to add a little kind of umbrella drain, sort of, to get the water another foot away from the tire wall, roughly, so that the water ends up going this direction and isn't so much right in that connection where all these tires are. So over time, working to keep that drier. So here's just a little before. I'll probably put a couple buckets here and a couple other somewhere else, but just so you get a before and after. There's that butterscotch. So it's Friday morning. I got one batch on this corner area yesterday, and I'm gonna get one more batch on it today to finish filling up these holes and integrating that mortar, that rebar, and go all the way up to that, basically the edge of that wet spot, to reinforce the whole bottom corner of that. And then the tower structure, the floor of that, it had a little bit of flaking going on, which I'm not entirely sure why it was happening, but basically there was a section that big that didn't bond well, so I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna have to excavate out a section all around here where it didn't bond with the layer, with the level underneath. And so, and it looks like here as well, it's interesting, it's like bubbling up where it was. It might have been because I put this plasticizer stuff in it. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I am going to apply more mortar up here after I finish prepping the areas that clearly didn't bond. But just a little bit of finished stuff, which will make it not look as good. But anyways, it has to be done. And it all slopes pretty well for drainage, but I could probably improve it a tiny bit. And then gonna get a finish coat on this thing as well. And I'm hoping that today is actually going to be the last mortar day on the Citadel of the year. I know the last video was like wrapping up the Citadel project, but this one should be, oh, which reminds me, I gotta cut that foam on the stairs. So I also extended the stairs to connect them to the wall, filling some of the areas with foam. So we got to cut that foam in order to do that stair. I actually kind of want to, yeah, I'll probably just cap that stair there. And then this one will be, this will be done for the whole season, and then I can really move on and pivot to the next project with this one all wrapped up. And I'll leave those arches for next year. Look who had a baby. Where is it, Coco? I still haven't seen it yet. I think there's just one. She was down to 2 eggs, and I fished out another egg that the chick already had feathers on it, but it didn't survive its hatching. Can I see the little baby? Where's the little baby at? I'm not sure if it hatched today or yesterday. But Coco finally succeeded. She probably overall sat on eggs for like 8 solid weeks this year. If not more, maybe. Like 3 or 4 different times. But she finally got a little baby. Can we see it? Can we see the baby? Oh, baby's hiding for now, but there's at least +1. So after this second batch on this area and 2 coats on that wall, I'm happy with how that wall looks. Happy with how that corner looks. Pretty much happy with the gutter, though it's got a little lath on the top to cover. And then I will have to do one more coat, or one more batch, to smooth out all of this stuff. And then I can be done over here. So at least one more batch today. Here's how the stairs are getting encased. So the hollows in the stairs were filled with spray foam. And then this one as well. Cut that spray foam and then put the mortar around it. And then over here, there was quite a few areas that had bubbled up because the last coat was so thin. So I got a good amount of coverage in here. Hopefully I didn't mess up the slope of it. And as long as I keep it wet, hopefully it all bonds and everything. I got to clean up the lip of that, but that should be roughly a final coat on this light extender thing. So that'll be nice and strong. Not going to dent if someone kicks it. So I've got one more batch of mortar to do today. And then I think I'm going to call it quits for the Citadel for the entire year. And transition. So after a couple batches, this area is nice and smooth. And I was also able to get up here and do a whole kind of like extension for the water to shed further away from the wall and less to go into the tires. So that was good. But once again, when I thought I was done, I probably will have a little bit more mortar to do. So instead of anticipating being done, I'll just let you know when all of the mortar is complete on the Citadel. Here's how this all turned out. Feels pretty good to walk on. And it seems like it's all draining rather well. I just poured a bunch of water on it, so it's all in the process of draining right now. I thought the chickens didn't walk on it, but lo and behold, of course, they found the wet mortar. A couple of them that I let out yesterday, and they went straight for it. So we'll be able to tell in a couple of minutes if there's any pooling or something, but so far it looks good. Here we are by the tire wall. That's what's in front of us. This is the tire wall next to the tower on the Citadel Tower. So after I was inspired after yesterday, after partially capping this kind of walkway here, and so what I did is I put a piece of rebar on the right side of this, which you can see right there, the one piece of it in the middle where it's not covered by mortar. And there's another piece over here, you can see. And that piece of wood is holding the rebar down over there. So because this is the edge of a tire wall and there's nothing structural to support the outside edge of the mortar kind of umbrella that I'm putting on there, and it's inherently kind of likely to crack walking over there. So I put that piece of rebar on the right side, which will reinforce that whole right edge so you can walk on that. And it actually kind of makes it a bit structural. And then I basically finished capping most of this tire wall, though. Each of the tires will have a little bit of space on the side of them where things can grow out of them. At least the top course of tires is not pounded, and then the things growing out of them can suck the moisture out that's remaining out of there. But I'm really happy with this because this will eventually be probably like the end of a walkway of being able to kind of like walk around the whole courtyard. This will be one end, and then the other end will probably be on the other side of the Citadel. And just wanted to show you like the rebar of just how I just kind of laid the rebar on top of the edge of the tires, and then I put a bucket of mortar connecting it to the other ones. And so now once that dries, it'll be like tentatively strong enough to like gingerly walk on, but then I'll end up adding a second coat on it probably tomorrow, and then slope everything right, and then that'll make it significantly stronger for this thing. And this also gives good access to like do any sort of maintenance on the wall, like painting it or any of that kind of stuff. Baby's doing good. It is Monday evening, Got 2 batches done today, 1 yesterday. I've been doing a lot of packing out on the tires out here, and then on the tires on the inside. I got this to a satisfactory state. The lighting's kind of hard to see, but and then I got up here, so a second coat, and then sloped it all so that piece of rebar is integrated, and this is like a capped little walkway, so you can get out and getting ideas of painting this tower, but I can't reveal what my big idea is yet. Anyways, that's that, and then I think pretty much all of we got several loads of firewood, so that's Arthur. Moving on with the firewood collection as well, and packing out. So I think at this point, the Citadel structure is complete for this year. I think I'm going to move on from now to the next structure. I don't really remember if I said that last week. I might have, but... So I got the layer boxes mortared in because the chickens were pecking at the foam after I just foamed it in. And yeah, just lots of wet mortar around the tire foundations, just kind of filling in the recesses and making everything more solid. And then the last 2 places of chicken wire, one being up there where it wasn't fully connected, and then the other one being down here in this opening. I was able to find scraps of chicken wire and then attach the scraps to the other chicken wire to fill the gaps, and then mortar in the attached piece of chicken wire. So that's what happened up at the top over here as well. So now it's all solidly mortared in. Shouldn't need anything holding it up anymore. And that basically concludes all the basic utilities for this structure for the year. It'll provide for the chickens. It should shed water and hopefully not fall apart from the frost heaves. And it anchors in the small tower there, and then it creates this whole castle facade. So yeah, this is the final video for, oh yeah, so over here, I guess, this is just more packing out. I had porcupined these tires and packing out at least the bottom course, and doing a lot of this kind of structural type stuff, integrating this all together, so it's more likely to all withstand the forces of nature over time. So that will wrap up this episode, and I'll be moving on, transitioning to a brand new project in the next episode. Here's little baby Cup, or here's little baby Puff. Here with Mama Coco and Puff. How's it going, Puff? It's bright, huh? We can't see much. Want some water? Some food and some water? Very calm little baby. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.